Diplomatic disruptions in South Asia rarely occur without warning signs, and they almost never remain confined to administrative notices or closed service counters. Instead, such decisions usually reflect a convergence of public pressure, security assessments, and political sensitivities that extend well beyond embassy walls. Over the past week, this pattern became visible when Bangladesh suspended all consular and visa services at its High Commission in New Delhi and its Assistant High Commission in Agartala, citing security concerns and leaving the timeline for reopening deliberately undefined. While the suspension was presented as a precautionary measure rather than a political statement, its implications are far-reaching. In this video, we examine what led to this sudden halt, how protests linked to the killing of Dipu Chandra evolved into a diplomatic concern, and why even limited demonstrations can have disproportionate consequences for bilateral relations. What appears to be a technical pause in services is, in reality, a reflection of how diplomacy now operates in a highly charged public environment where embassies are no longer insulated from domestic political mobilization. According to confirmation from Bangladesh's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all consular operations, including visa issuance, documentation services, and citizen assistance, were suspended at the two missions until further notice. Notices announcing the closure were physically posted at the mission premises, signaling a decision intended to be operationally enforceable rather than symbolic. The choice of locations is significant. The Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi serves as the primary diplomatic hub for engagement with the Indian central government, while the Assistant High Commission in Agartala handles one of the highest volumes of cross-border movement due to Tripura's proximity to Bangladesh. Each year, millions of Indian nationals apply for Bangladeshi visas, particularly for medical treatment, religious tourism, and business travel, while Bangladeshi citizens rely on these missions for legal and emergency services. The suspension therefore affects a dense web of people-to-people connections that underpin one of South Asia's most active bilateral relationships. The immediate catalyst for the suspension lies in a series of protests that followed the killing of Dipu Chandra, an incident that quickly moved beyond a criminal investigation and entered the realm of political mobilization. In Siliguri, demonstrators gathered outside the Bangladesh Visa Center, disrupting routine operations and forcing a temporary shutdown. Protest organizers reportedly warned against reopening the center, escalating the situation from protest to obstruction. Siliguri occupies a uniquely sensitive position in India's geography, acting as a narrow corridor that connects the northeastern states to the rest of the country, while also serving as a transit point for regional trade involving Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. Developments in this city often carry implications far beyond local politics. As unrest spread, attention shifted to Kolkata, a city whose historical, cultural, and economic ties to Bangladesh magnify the diplomatic impact of any protest activity linked to bilateral issues. Security concerns intensified after a late-night demonstration outside the Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi by a small group affiliated with an extremist organization. Although the protest involved limited numbers and lasted only a short period, Bangladeshi officials treated the incident with seriousness due to its location and messaging. Diplomatic missions operate under strict international norms, where even symbolic threats can trigger reassessments of staff safety. Following the incident, Bangladesh's foreign advisor indicated that the High Commissioner's family felt unsafe, prompting internal security reviews in Dhaka. Under international diplomatic conventions, host states are responsible for protecting foreign missions, but receiving states often take independent precautionary measures when threat perceptions increase. Once concerns extend beyond professional security to the safety of diplomats' families, maintaining normal operations becomes difficult to justify. Events in Kolkata added a distinct political dimension to the unfolding situation. Large demonstrations were organized outside the Bangladesh Deputy High Commission, led by prominent opposition figures from West Bengal politics. Hundreds of protesters marched through central areas of the city before being stopped at a controlled distance by local police. Protest leaders later announced plans for symbolic border blockades, framing them as pressure tactics linked to minority protection demands. Such statements carry weight because India and Bangladesh share a land border of more than 4,000 kilometers, making it one of the longest in the world. Bilateral trade between the two countries has exceeded $18 billion annually in recent years, with West Bengal accounting for a significant share of exports, transit trade, and logistics. Even rhetorical threats to disrupt cross-border goods can unsettle supply chains, particularly for agricultural produce, construction materials, and essential commodities that move daily across the border. Beyond the immediate protests, the episode reflects a broader regional trend in which domestic political narratives increasingly spill into foreign policy space. Issues related to religious identity, minority rights, and historical grievances often mobilize public sentiment quickly, especially when amplified by political organizations and social media networks. Bangladesh has consistently maintained that crimes against minorities should be addressed through domestic legal processes rather than external pressure, while reiterating its commitment to communal harmony. At the same time, India hosts one of Bangladesh's largest diplomatic footprints abroad due to the sheer volume of interaction between the two societies. When consular services are suspended, the immediate costs fall on ordinary citizens rather than policymakers. Students miss university deadlines, patients delay cross-border medical treatment, traders face documentation backlogs, and families are separated by administrative barriers rather than physical distance. Historically, India and Bangladesh have navigated far more complex disputes, including river water sharing, border demarcation, and counter-terrorism cooperation, making the current disruption notable for emerging from street-level mobilization rather than formal diplomatic conflict. As of now, Bangladeshi authorities have not provided a timeline for restoring consular and visa services, suggesting that the suspension will remain in place until security assessments improve substantially. Indian officials have responded cautiously, reinforcing law enforcement presence around diplomatic zones while avoiding public escalation. For Dhaka, the decision signals caution rather than confrontation, prioritizing diplomatic safety even at the cost of inconvenience and political criticism. More broadly, the episode highlights how modern diplomacy operates in a crowded and volatile public space, where embassies are increasingly exposed to domestic political currents beyond their control. In a region where borders are porous and histories deeply intertwined, even temporary disruptions can produce lasting diplomatic ripples. Whether this closure remains a short-lived precaution or evolves into a prolonged diplomatic irritant will depend on how quickly trust, restraint, and security assurances can be restored on all sides.